Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of PoCommunity. I'm Mike Arboit and I'm sitting here with Heather London from Heather London Coaching. How's it going?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm so happy to have you on the show today, Heather. You've been a member here for a while now, and also like we always ran into each other at the gym a lot when you first became a member too. So I'm really happy to have you on the show to talk about you, your story, and your brand.
Well, thanks for having me. It seems like everywhere I go, there you are.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe you might be stalking me
Maybe.
just a
I don't
little
know.
bit.
I just seem like I'm dragged in so many directions that I'm
Yeah.
everywhere at once. So
You are. You're everywhere.
yeah, that's it's same with you though.
Yeah.
See you most mornings, always working hard early in the morning, and yeah. Since then, you've also now moved up to doing Heather London coaching full time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. That's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit more about you and your coaching.
Well, my coaching is I help women master midlife. So, when you have your kids, you're at the stage where your son is young and all that, but there comes a point where they grow up and they actually have their own life. And so at that point, you have to reconsider your life. Like, what's my purpose? If my life is taking care of my kids and now my kids are older, what do I do? And when you get into midlife, your body changes too. So my past was doing personal training for like 15 years, and that's holistic nutrition, the whole bit. And so you identify as a certain body or a certain type or a certain like athletic. I was always, an athlete. And then when you hit midlife, your life changes. And so it's like a whole other thing. And as women and moms, we never ask for help. We're like, no, I got it. I'll do it all myself. And we put everybody else ahead of ourselves. And so my job, my mission in life is to help women transition into midlife so that they can go and be amazing and step into their power and enjoy their lives from a place of putting themselves first. So, and that's a big thing. It's like a life transition. There's so many life transitions, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak from my experiences. Like when I was in my 20s, I could eat whatever I wanted
Yeah.
as long as I went to the gym, and I did go to the gym, and I was in I won't say great shape because I still was eating pretty badly,
Yeah.
but I was in good enough shape that I looked athletic. And then like 30 hits, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, your metabolism is a little bit
Yeah.
slower now. You can eat bad once in a while, but you have to go to the gym harder and you have to watch what you eat. And it's difficult. It's very
Mm.
difficult. And I just, from what I understand, it just the older you get, the more
Yeah.
difficult it is. So, and seeing it from that transition, like being a teenager to 20s, and just seeing the differences and how just a male body works.
Yeah.
Could imagine what it's like for females that have gone through like birthing a child, all these other things that are just so hard on the body, and just how media has made it so stressful for women on how to look a certain way. And
Mm.
it's like, oh, you're in your 50s, you got to look like J Lo. It's
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
it's not realistic. It's not how the world really works. So having people like you and just more of that in the forefront, where it's like you've gone through a lot. Life is a crazy thing. Be happy with who you are and
Mm.
what you are.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's what happens. You literally wake up one morning and you're like, what the hell happened to my body? Because your metabolism changes, but it's not even just this is the false theory that I want to talk about is it's not calories in, calories out. That's not a system that actually works. Our whole body is run by hormones. And so weight is no different. But the industry has said, hey, calories in, calories out. Here's why it doesn't work because our bodies are adaptogens. And if you have a certain number of calories and you lower those calories, our body adapts and goes, hey, we have less energy. So we'll lower our digestion, we'll lower our energy, we'll lower all of our other systems to accommodate to function at those calories. And it's the same if you increase your calories. Well, you'll have more energy and you can do all the other things with more energy and more calories. So in order for you to know when you get older in life, the reason I'm saying this is because when you get older in life, it's like you need to know how to regulate your hormones, because just like through puberty and through being pregnant and giving birth, it's all hormonal changes every single time. Do you remember what it was like when you were in high school and you went through puberty? Like
Yeah, it was crazy,
crazy.
crazy. It was crazy and fun at the same time.
Yeah. Crazy and fun. Well, this is just crazy and crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's the same idea. Like your whole body changes.
yeah,
And that's what's happening when you go into midlife too. And so from the weight aspect, it's like, how do I regulate the hormones that tell my body to store fat, to store the extra glucose as fat? And so it's a whole other perception of the body and how it works. And
yeah,
it's mind blowing, I'm telling you.
yeah. I could imagine. Like, so what made you want to study this? Like, from let's go down to the very beginning, and like what made you want to get involved in nutrition and specifically the midlife?
Okay, this is like such a great question. For me as a person, I am very curious, and so when I am experiencing something and I want to change it, I figure out the best way to do it, and then when it works for me, I share it with other people. So it's a lot of what works and how do I study it and get good at that. Like for example, I used to work in the film industry because I was curious about that kind of thing. So I became a key grip on a film set, and then from there it's like it just the path flows, right? And you learn all these different things, and then I became pregnant and couldn't work in film anymore, and I've always loved health and wellness, and so I just became a pre and postnatal fitness. So I opened up my own studio so I could take my kids with me to work, because I'm a single mom and I didn't want to put my kids in daycare. So I created a daycare at my gym and I just brought them with me. And it's so funny because the kids used to come and play with my kids and they used to think, oh, that's like Phoenix and Santos's house. They thought the kids lived there
Yeah,
because every time they went there, they were there. And so it was through my being pregnant and my body changing and still wanting to be active that I learned how to do that. And then because I couldn't work 16 hours a day at film, I changed my whole career and I put those together and I just created that for myself. You know what that's like. You're an entrepreneur.
yeah,
So we create stuff out of nothing,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so as my body goes into midlife, I'm like, this is hard.
yeah,
And so I want to figure out non-traditional ways, because I'm not a fan of medications and Western medicine from a point of stopping symptoms. I'm like, let's get to the root cause. So I also have a background in energy healing, which is all based on a lot of traditional Chinese medicine or Eastern medicines. And that's all based on your body being energy. So Western medicine is, hey, you have muscles and bones and tissues. And Eastern medicine is, hey, you're all energy. Your energy. And if something isn't working properly, that's because energy is stuck in a certain area, a certain organ.
yeah.
And how do we release that and let that flow?
That's so interesting. It's so crazy how different, like just how everyday things are different in different parts of the world. Like just
Yes.
how they study things, and I mean, modern medicine, I guess, is used worldwide, but there's still like traditional things, methods. Like I and you don't know really. I feel like it's a lot like just life in general. Certain things work for certain people. I've heard with acupuncture and stuff like that, people just not saying it doesn't work, and I literally have had people tell me that it's stopped them having to get surgery.
Mm.
Like it helped them drastically. So I feel like it depends on who you are, what how your body reacts to things, what's going to be the best for you. But the having the most options is, I think, the best thing instead of the cookie cutter. This is how you do it.
Yes. You nailed it on the head. You're like, not everybody is the same. So your body is different than my body. And so in Western society, it's like one size fits all
Yeah,
and just stop the symptoms. But it's like, what's causing it? And what's causing yours is from your whole upbringing and all your genetics and all your experiences in life and the environment that you live in and the thoughts that you think and the air that you breathe. And so, in order for me to get to the heart of what's going on for you, I have to like get to the heart of who you are as a person and what makes you tick and what your experiences are. And it's very, very personal, right?
yeah. So obviously that's you have connections with a lot with your clients as a coach, and with the background and is it like is it life coaching as well as physical, like basically like physical, what would I say, like personal training coaching, like is it both now, you got to mesh them both worlds?
I take my background in personal training, but I don't do personal training because as what I've learned is you don't need to kill yourself at the gym and count your calories to get the body that you want.
Yeah,
But what you do need to do is understand like why you're creating what you've created in the first place. And so I take my background in the nutrition because food can heal you or food can make you sick. Everything you eat will either make you sick or make you healthy.
yeah,
And so I use that and then moving your body. So if I used to be a soccer player and now I have a bad knee and I can't play soccer anymore, then I want to try to find something that I can do that I enjoy doing. So I'll do it all the time. So I'm consistent with it. So it's more move your body for 30 minutes every single day in a way that you love doing,
yeah.
right?
I've heard of things where I don't know how true it is. Some you probably have more of an idea, but like past athletes tend to actually, if they leave their sport for injury reason or just having to, uh, whether it be like job or whatever, that they actually tend to gain weight faster going into that state of like no non-activity than people that even just they've worked in, let's say they worked on offices since high school, out of high school, and they continue to do that. They've never really been super active. They actually, because their body hasn't changed drastically, their body doesn't react a certain way. But with an athlete, if they're active, and then all of a sudden just like halt, we're
Yeah.
done, they'll balloon faster than most because your body's just like,
Yes.
what do I do with this amounts of energy, like you said,
Yeah.
that I'm not burning anymore?
Yeah. Because they've been so hardcore. And here's a philosophy: whatever you do to either lose weight or get into shape, you have to keep doing it. So if you're doing like no carbs, not sustainable. You
Yeah,
can't do that. So what you want to create is something that you can do today and then for the rest of your life that you enjoy doing. Because if it's hard, you're not going to do it, right? You want to
yeah,
be like, hey, this is just what I do now. This is just who I am. So 100%, if you all of a sudden stop doing your activity and you've been like training like a crazy person like all athletes do, then it's impossible to keep that high level, that high standard that you
yeah,
had before.
yeah. It's very true, and it's I personal experience. It happened to me leaving professional wrestling when I was in my 20s, or late 20s, and then was at the gym at that time 5 days a week, and like constant. And then I quit, and then I moved to Maple Ridge from Coquitlam. Didn't like the gyms out there, and just stopped working out.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then it like literally took probably 2 years for me to just like okay, well, what am I doing instead of the gym now or wrestling? I'm eating cheesecake, watching Netflix. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like, and so, but it happens quick, and it happens like super quick, and I think that's where you see like almost like issues starting is when your metabolism is slowing down, and then you change to that lifestyle, how fast your body can just change in not a good way.
No, no, you're like, what happened? Where did I go? But it's funny because you said I went to gyms I didn't like. So you didn't like doing that. So you're like, so you stopped doing it. But I gotta say, like, man, I've seen you in action.
Yeah.
You are amazing. I'm like, when I saw you at the gym and found out that you worked here, I didn't know that you were a wrestler. And so when I saw your wrestling moves, I'm like, holy cow, this guy has been holding out. He's a rock star. Like the stuff you do is amazing.
Thank you. It's funny. I when I was in much better shape, I could do all the moves I do now, but when I did them at 100 and whatever 75 pounds, it wasn't like people were just like, oh yeah, almost expecting it.
Yeah.
Now I go and wrestle. If I do a backflip, people are like, holy, like how the hell does this guy do
Yeah.
this backflip? So it's like because I with that kind of stuff, I honestly think it's mental. It's a
Yeah.
lot. Like I've taught people how to do kind of gymnastics based stuff at wrestling, like backflips, and people of all sizes taught them how to do it because it's all mind over matter. It's like your body actually naturally will rotate like that.
Yeah.
But if you think about it while you're trying to do it, your body stiffens and it stops and you land on your head.
Yeah.
But literally, if you think of it, it's like I never lost that. What I've lost definitely is the cardio
Yeah.
and just how my body just needs. It doesn't. If I do something big, I have to plan it out for a while,
Yeah.
and I have to know like, oh, I'm going to be sore after this. But like back in the day, I was doing that on every weekend, just doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm paying for it,
Yeah.
but it wasn't appreciated then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying now,
Yeah.
seeing me in action. I do have a show coming up, so if you want to come up to see that,
Yeah. Oh, I do. I do. And I'm bringing my camera because I'm like, I'm going to make videos of that for sure because it's so impressive. And so, what I'm hearing you say is a lot of what you do is in your mind, even though it's a physical thing you're doing.
yeah,
It starts in our brain, right? So, my philosophy is our thoughts create our results.
yeah,
And so, you're confirming that, which is like, oh, I know that in my brain I can do this. And
yeah.
so, if my body just follows my brain, I'm good. Which makes me think, sitting here watching, I'm like, can I pick you up and slam you down on the table right now?
You probably could.
No.
I don't know if it's like partially an addictive personality too, where if I'm about something, I'm like,
All
so
about
like
it.
if like the gym, like literally, some people say it's bad, but mentally it's good for me. Is like I'm there 7 days a week as
Yeah.
much as like I try to be, and I really aim to be there every day of the week. And it's because if I get off of this almost this like schedule based thing, like my brain, I don't need an alarm. My brain goes off at like 4:45 in the
Yeah.
morning to wake up for the gym. If I miss that one day mentally, it's not like one day at the gym I'm physically going to look so much worse. It's more of a mental. This is what I do. This is so I have to get into this almost this like trance
Yeah.
for it all, and it's the same with the wrestling aspect. It's like I used to be all about it, but it was almost too draining. And now that I'm all about it, but I'm having fun with it and not taking it as seriously, it's
Yeah.
almost easier to do, if
Mhm.
that makes any sense. So
Yeah.
I just think mental game on anything in what you do, it just aging is not an easy thing for people. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter who you are. Aging for a lot of people, it's stress. It's stressful. Like you said, your hormones are changing, but it's just you're always thinking about the past and like, oh, your younger
Yes.
self, and
Yeah.
when you just come to like just realize that it happens to everybody. Like everybody
Mhm.
ages. Everybody they just love you for who you are and just have fun more. Like don't take everything so seriously, and your
Yeah.
body will react to that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like lighten up a little bit,
Yeah,
right? And comparison is the thief of all joy. So a lot of what we do is we compare our current self to our past self, like when we were in our prime,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And so that's gonna totally like steal all of our joy. So if we can be in this moment here and what's possible now, and what you had talked about earlier, the reason you're so successful at what you do, like because you keep doing it, that's your like being, hey, I am totally committed to this,
yeah,
right? So it's like when I decide that this is what I'm going to do, it's in my brain where I make that decision and then my body follows. So you want to understand what thoughts are going on in your brain,
yeah,
right? So you want to make that commitment every single day. So it's not making one big thing that makes the changes, it's those little showing up every day, doing the little things that gets that big result at the end.
yeah,
So you have to be self-disciplined.
yeah,
And that's like, say, Atomic Habits. If you've read that book, it's like 1% change every day or consistently doing something every single day will get you those big results down the road. And that's what you do.
yeah,
And so if you miss one day, then it's super easy to miss 2 days and 3 days and 4 days. And then you've lost that self discipline
yeah.
in the
I think
workout.
I almost think like children kind of like having a child almost like makes you more patient with yourself a little bit. Like
Mm,
I don't know, like my patience level was never like I always wanted like results immediately,
hmm.
always, no matter what. And when I was younger, it's like okay, oh, I had a bad month of eating. Okay, I'll just get on a fat burner and go crazy at the gym. But I think like once had a son and just how patient you got to be with them
Yeah.
and just seeing how it's going to take time and repetitiveness with them, and just the older I get now, I'm just like okay, there's no way I can go to the gym, even if I go as much as I go, drop the weight I used to be able to even drop, even if I eat super clean. It's just my body does not react the same way. I used to be
Mhm.
able to drop 20 pounds in a week, like
Mhm.
no problem. When I
Yeah.
boxed, when I wrestled, it was easy. It's not easy now, and I think it's a lot to do with mental. As an entrepreneur, business owner, of stressful times the last few years, what's comforting to a lot of people? Food,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of people, it's almost like what can affect them negatively is also their comfort zone.
Yes. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
Because your comfort zone is there for a reason. It's like, oh, I like this couch. I'm gonna hang out over here. And you're like, hey, come out, hang out on the windowsill on the ledge with us. And I'm like, no, that's crazy. I'm not going over there. But this might not be the best spot for me,
yeah,
but it's comfortable, right? So in order for people to change, they have to be more uncomfortable than they are comfortable where they are. Like more uncomfortable being here than uncomfortable doing something they've never done before,
yeah,
making a change, right? So it has to happen in your brain first, being like, this is way too uncomfortable. This is too painful for me to stay here anymore.
yeah,
Or they're inspired into it. Those are the two reasons why people change. One, because it's too horrible, and the other one is because they're inspired to, like, they take inspired action,
I think you
right?
see that a lot in everyday life. You could read a million books on the same subject, and it's like hitting rock bottom could
Yeah.
be the most blessing time for somebody, and for the other person, it's literally hitting rock bottom and they never get out of it.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the person. And that's literally every aspect of life, how they react to a certain scenario. It's I think like as you know, running your own business, it takes a certain type of somebody to have to like adapt on the fly
Mhm.
constantly. Like
Yeah.
it's not easy to leave your comfort zone almost on it feels like a daily level, like where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, you
Mhm.
finally are here, you're like, okay, I can breathe, and it's just like something happens.
Yeah.
And it's so it it takes a lot. I think as a coach for you to run your own business, to also have to help people through what they're going through while you're also trying to run your own
Yeah.
business, and that's a mind screw in its own. So well, that's a question I'll ask, like how is it balancing your own sanity while trying to help other people like cure their insanity, I guess.
It's true though. It's not easy. No, because I'm a coach, I've become the master of my thoughts, right?
Yeah,
So if I can always be aware of my thoughts and redirect my brain to what I do want, then I can coach myself. But I'm human and I have these emotions and feelings. And if I don't know how to process my feelings, then we're in trouble, right? But if I know that my thoughts create my results and that my thoughts create my feelings, then I'm in charge of all of it. So I could create whatever I want.
yeah,
So it's like, but the other thing that you were talking about, like all the changes going on, and I really want to say that I think as society today, it's hard because our dopamine levels have been hijacked by everything.
yeah.
So I don't know if you're a fan of dopamine or if you know anything about it or not,
I don't
but
know anything about it, but I kind of understand what you're talking about. I don't know the science, but anything of
yeah.
it.
So really like simply is dopamine are that's like the pleasure center, that's the reward center, but it's based on the anticipation, desire, right? And everything in today's society is to release dopamine more and more and more all the time, but our body is designed to have like a little bit of dopamine and then you recover from it, right? So it's a pendulum. So it's like reward, dopamine,
Yeah,
and then there's some because everything is equal. So then there's some pain,
yeah, yeah,
and then the more and the bigger we go, the bigger the pain, and it's harder to get out of that pain. But if you look at social media, dopamine hit after dopamine hit, and food, all the sugar, dopamine hit after
yeah,
dopamine hit. So we're a society that's been is like kind of like paralyzed and stuck in this dopamine hit, and we're not even aware of it. So in order to like break free of all of this, and that's what we're talking about when you're talking about your body and your health and your work and all of that, is like you have to take back control over your dopamine. So you have to do kind of like a dopamine detox,
yeah, yeah.
and that means like you got to detox, you got to stop doing all the things and let your dopamine levels go back to normal. But all of these businesses have created their stuff specifically to trigger your dopamine.
Yeah.
So we're in dopamine overload, and it's leading to all the addiction. So if I was to say to you, Mike, I don't want you to look at your phone. I don't even want you to touch your phone. Leave it there and don't even touch it for the whole day. You would probably like be looking for it in your pocket,
Oh
and you'd be
yeah,
like, if you'd hear someone else's phone, you'd be like, what? What's that? Right?
yeah,
So it's an addiction that we have that we don't even know that we have. The same as sugar. Sugar is in everything, and sugar is a poison,
yeah, yeah.
and it's in all of our food because it's addictive.
It's addictive.
Yeah.
Oh, your phone example is hilarious because I don't know if you've gone to any like stand-up comedy events or anything like at Rogers Arena now. A lot of the stand-up comics have these new seal your phone like you have to.
Oh.
They give you pouches at the front of the building. You have to seal it in there, and you can't if they're caught if you break it out of there or anything, they'll kick you out. And it is crazy to see basically 20,000 people in one arena, like, and so many people like freaking
Jonesing.
out, and
They're all
they're
jonesing.
jonesing for phones, and I don't know how this ties together, but it's also the scariness of social media is that you live a different life on social media than you do in real life. Like you what you see and what you present on social media is not exactly what's going on in your life. It's like the best parts, the best parts. So people living on social media all the time or like living through it, their dopamine levels are probably higher, but then like once they get down to reality, it's sad as hell for them.
Yeah, because you don't want to get out of that, right? Like, and it's every time you get a message that releases the dopamine, the anticipation of like, oh, what is somebody who wants to talk to me? What does somebody want to say to me? Right? It's not the actual message. It's the same as the food. The dopamine hit is on the anticipation of eating the chocolate. It's not actually eating the chocolate
Yeah,
because then when you eat it, then you're like, you feel horrible after,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So it's the anticipation of it. And again, anytime we're eating food, it's because we don't want to feel a feeling.
yeah,
So if we know how to process our feelings, we don't have to go to food to avoid the feeling. That's the only reason why we're eating food, junk food, and that is because we don't want to feel the feeling because the feeling is so horrible to us.
yeah.
And we've been trained as a society just to like go have a chocolate bar or whatever that is. So the good news is that you can take your power back, but you have to be aware of it. Like a lot of people aren't even aware that their dopamine has been hijacked.
It's tough too because it's like uh, all the comfort. It seems like all the comfort foods and stuff that are bad for you, and the things that are bad for you in general, seem to be the only things that are affordable still. And
It's
so
true.
it's like people. There's a lot of people that want to do better for themselves, but they're like, okay, well, how the heck am I going to do that? I saw a meme the other day, and it was hilarious because it's very true to me. And it was like, why spend $15 on really good pad thai when I can buy the ingredients myself for $45 and have an okay pad thai? And it's just
That's
like,
so
and
good.
it's very much true.
Yeah.
It's so I think it's society has kind of created this bubble that people are living in that it's actually really hard to break, and I feel like it's through the corporations having all this pull and being like, hey, we're going to put sugar in our foods, we're going to do all this stuff because this is what keeps people coming back.
Yeah.
I think people are kind of smartening up to a lot now, though, and
Yeah.
just this is where internet, and I almost think social media has a positive, is
Yeah.
that you can learn this stuff of like what actually is going on, what is bad for you.
Yeah.
And there's also the extreme other side, like you said, the no carbs and stuff, where it's just there's some people I know that like literally once they cut carbs or do the keto thing, that literally it works for them and they don't even crave it, and they kept on it for years now. But like you said, a lot of people just use it for like, okay, I got to drop 20 pounds, do
Mhm.
keto for a couple months,
Yeah.
and then as soon as your body gets that piece of bread again.
Yeah. It's true. And on that note, I was at Costco and I saw a big bag of oranges for $10 on sale, and I grabbed them and ran. I'm like, holy cow! And that's crazy when you think $10 for a big bag of oranges, but they were so good. They were pink inside, and they were the juiciest
Oh
oranges
yeah.
I've ever had. So they were worth it. But $10 for a bag of oranges, right?
Today, we had an event here, and I went to Superstore and I saw this thing of grapes. I'm okay we're doing a whatever charcuterie, I don't know,
Charcuterie
charcuterie, whatever the
board,
hell.
yeah.
But
Whatever.
we get the bag. I get this bag of grapes. I read, oh, $5.99 on the thing. And I'm like, oh, that's not bad. And then I bring it up and I scan it. It says 11 something. I'm like, oh, I guess it was $5.99 a pound.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is absolutely ridiculous
Yeah.
to eat healthy when somebody literally could go down the street to McDonald's and get like four double cheeseburgers for less than a bag of
Yeah.
grapes. That's messed up.
But I think the good news is that there's strength in numbers. So we vote with our dollar. So if every dollar we spend is consciously spent, then we could easily stop the production of those foods, right?
Yeah,
We could easily put those businesses out of business if we only bought these foods over here. And then the price of those foods would go down, right?
yeah,
But it would require like all of us being conscious with, voting with our dollar kind of thing.
yeah.
Like we do have a lot of power if we stick together,
Yeah,
right?
or even we think about it because I don't think they want us thinking about it. A lot of
That's
people
the
are in
problem.
tunnel visions that no, they can't be doing this
Yeah.
to us. They can't be
Yeah.
like wanting us to eat the worst foods
Yeah.
and make that the cheap stuff. It's like no, it's if you talk to anybody in marketing and just or just sales that isn't in it for the right reasons, or
Yeah.
they were at companies that did sales that weren't they weren't good for the soul. Let's just put
Yeah.
it that way. There's a lot of people out there. That's how people become successful.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's
Yeah.
they take humans and they see the weakness. And it's like how do we supply not help for this weakness, but just like drive this weakness even further. And
Yeah.
it's sad, but it's kind of the what we live in today, right? So
It's true, but and at the same time, it's like us being aware, like you said, being aware of what's going on and being conscious.
yeah,
So that's kind of like our job. If we look around, it's like, what do I want to create? What can I create? How do I think for myself? How do I create my own reality, right? Because at the end of the day, our external world is just a result of what's going on internally. And so if we don't like that, we get to make changes. And that's where the life coaching comes in, right? It's like, hey, you don't like the results that you're getting, but you're using the same brain to try to solve the problem that created it in the first place.
yeah,
And you want someone outside of your brain to look at your brain and see what's going on. Because our brain is designed for three things. Like one is just to conserve energy, and two is to avoid pain and seek pleasure. And conserve energy means everything I do all the time, put it on autopilot so I don't have to put energy into thinking about it, which is all the stuff, all these thoughts going in our head, the repetitive negative thoughts. Autopilot, autopilot. That's what our brain's designed to do. And
yeah,
I'm going to come in and look in your brain and be like, whoa, Mike, look at this thought. This thought here is causing that result there. And it's subconsciously running because you didn't even know it was going on. Because our brain has like 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of those are the same as yesterday,
yeah,
which is crazy.
yeah,
But that's how we just keep creating the same for ourselves.
yeah. We're a product of like just repetitiveness. I think
Yeah.
humans are comfortable and repetitive. Some people
Yes.
aren't. There's certain people that just like they need to do something different every day. They go
Yeah.
crazy. But I think for the most part, society's kind of created that with like the 9 to 5 lifestyle. It's like that's what you're used to, and so.
Yeah.
But it's a crazy just subject that I could talk about all day with you. Like
I know.
honestly, it's a very I love that you get to do this for a living because
Hmm.
I can tell you're passionate about it. So it's just nice to see people out there spreading awareness on this whole thing and just being I know like working with midlife women specifically. I obviously have women in my family that are at that stage in their lives and seeing the difficulty it has been. I seen it with my mom. I'm an only child when
Mm.
I decided to move away and move
How
out.
could you?
Yeah,
How could
yeah.
you do
So
that to
it's like
her?
it's so, but just seeing like while she's going through a bunch of changes. So
Yeah.
I appreciate what you do. I want people to uh, that this might just like connect with. Like I want them to be able to reach you, and I
Mm.
want them to use your services because I know you're passionate and I know that you care, and that's the
Mm.
biggest thing. There's a lot of coaches out there. There's a lot of coaches out there, but you stand out to me as someone who like cares and it really wants the best for their clients.
Oh,
So
thank
tell me
you.
where they could find you. And
I appreciate that. Um, my webpage is the best spot. So www.heatherlondon.ca. And I have some free resources there and a blog, and you can book a free consult with me if you're looking for help and you're wondering if it's a fit for us to work together. So you can go there and we can chat and see how I can best help you.
That's awesome. And I know you're active on like Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, what is it? Heather London Coaching?
Heather London Coaching.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good reels all the time. Always good positive messages. So thank you so much for being the guest on PoCommunity today. I've been waiting for this one. I'm happy you came on.
Well, I appreciate what you do. Like, you're building the community as well. So I really appreciate you. And the Fountainhead Network, like, all of it is so amazing for building up wonderful free thinkers like ourselves. And I'm wondering if I could slam you on the table now. Like,
Oh, man. If my no didn't make this with his bare hands,
oh my
this table, I wouldn't
gosh.
want to break it, but maybe
Okay,
one
how
day.
about that table
Come
over
to the
there?
wrestling show, maybe.
How about
maybe,
that table
maybe
over
with
there?
all the expensive equipment on it. Mo maybe we'll just set Mo up as a table. We'll put me through him.
I love it.
But if you ever want to come up to a wrestling show too, maybe we could get a table at those. Those are the easier to come by. All the breakable, fake. I won't say fake,
No, don't
but
say that.
they're a little bit gimmicked tables where they take all the support.
Yeah.
There's a secret. They take a little bit of the support from underneath. Because if you ever try to break a real table, it's not very easy.
No, you're the one that's going to break, right?
It hurts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Heather.
Thanks,
and
Mike.
thank you all for watching or listening today. And join us on the next time on PoCommunity. Thank you.